So in this question, if we see, we have been told to implement the class hierarchy as shown below. Whatever is visible in the blue color is name of the class, and whatever is there in the, let's say, these transparent black colors, they are the data members. You remember, like in complex class, we were having real and imaginary as a data member. In class ratio, we were having numerator and denominator. So here in every class, we are going to make one data member. So data member are to be kept as shown here in these black boxes. Okay. Now, what are we actually trying to do by all this thing is, obviously, we are trying to learn the points of these classes and objects inheritance parts. We are trying to see whether we are able to call each and every different functions of parent class or not, and how to make a use of that. So currently in your 12th standard, we are not having much more than this. We are going to only make basic level of programs. Okay. But as I said in that one of the lecture when I started classes and objects, Java is something which will purely follow classes and object. You will have in-depth knowledge of classes and object only. Whatever we are right now doing is fundamentals of Java only. Okay. Okay. So let's move on. I'll write down the full question here so that you understand what are we going to do. So this class hierarchy, as you have seen here, I'll put it down over there. It's a part of the question. If you have a query like in board papers, they will draw this hierarchy also or not. Obviously, yes, because the question itself shows you that to implement hierarchy as shown below means diagram is going to be a part of question. Okay, now let's see. So question is, write a program in C++ to implement a class hierarchy as shown below. And then question itself will be more explanatory. For example, class student to have data member name and, or I would say comma, class test to have data members to carry marks of two subjects. So see, question is very explanatory, explanation oriented, as I said. Class sports to have data member to carry scores, yeah, or score in sports, because sports score would be something out of 10. So there are not going to be much subject divisions in it. And finally, class result to have a data member as total to display or to handle or carry total score. Okay, so we are right now trying to actually implement this hierarchy, but I can tell you what this program is going to explain us in in the recent examples. For example, let's say in some college or school, whenever they buy or purchase the software, so in the software different teachers are allowed to handle students marks of only those subjects which they are teaching. For example, if I am going to handle, let's say, computer science as a subject, so I cannot check or change your marks of sports or PCM, right? So we have to manage those access methods, security access, and that can be better achieved by this class hierarchy. I will be having access to only my subject scores of nobody else. So these all things are helpful when some softwares are requiring such demands. So C++ is the place, or it is providing you the platform which gives you such kind of freedom. to implement this hierarchy. Okay, so having done this question, let me try to just shrink it down so that we'll focus on question now. Okay, so as we have seen all this hierarchy, now it's clear that we want to implement that first class as student. So I'll show you what are we supposed to do. So I'll just take this box over here and we'll try to focus on the first, the class implementation. All right, so I'm going to start from here, and then later on I'll remove these black boxes because it is going to get explained in the question itself, as I have explained. So whatever they are going to give you in the question paper are going to be only blue boxes, that is the class name and the relation between them. So let us focus here. We have to implement first class as class student. I'm going to do that. You can notice very well they have not kept any first letter of the class name as capital, so we will also not put. If they would have done it, we will also do it. Okay, so class student, I did it. In the class student, do we need any data carrier? So let's see here. Data carrier is name, to handle the or to take the name of the person or student. So I am doing that. Character, if you remember the strings topic, name, and we used to keep certain size, isn't it? So let's say I keep the size as 50 to ask or to handle the name of the student. Okay, and as do we want this all members to get inherited or not, this name part? So we can see we want to do totaling of that in this result class, so I cannot keep it as private. In the last lecture I was explaining you this thing. See, whatever is private does not get inherited, whatever is public gets inherited. So today I am going to show you the third classifier. If you want certain things to get inherited in the children, but it should not be accessible to outside people, then what do? We make it a third class, protected. Okay, so you can notice I'll add a comment over here. Gets inherited with private classification to outside functions. Outside function means the function which are external members. Example, void main, other classes which are not the part of this hierarchy. Like example, sports. So can sports access the name? No, because it is protected, and sport is not getting inherited from the student class. That is what I mean. Okay, so that was the meaning of protected. Protected means children of the family gets the full access to that, but somebody like friend of the children cannot access it. So for external people it's still private, for internal people it is protected, or it's a private thing, it's usable thing, that way it is. So protected is a third classifier for you all to know. So till now what all security classification we have done, or security identifiers we have learned: private, public, and third one is protected. Okay, so you will never see protected in those programs where inheritance is not used. Okay, if inheritance you are not doing, so why to write protected? Because it will ultimately mean like a private only. Okay, so going ahead now, let me see if I can accommodate here only. Yeah, possible. Okay, now we will move on to this public part. So what are we supposed to do over here? So if it's a related to name, then we can do one thing. We can ask user to enter his name by making a function over here only. And in case you want this name to get handled somewhere else, then we can do that also, but we will not do it that way. So I'm writing here input name, or I would say get name. So you observe very well, my all the names are very much, such are something like work oriented names, so that we do not get confused, right? Enter your name. Now it's his choice, he want to enter his full name or only first name. I'm using getLine function if you remember well. So the property was telling, the syntax was like, write the name of the array and the size. That way it was cin.getLine. All right. Now moving ahead, are you going to do anything with this? I don't think so. So if he has entered the name, name gets saved, and if you want to display it somewhere, we will do that also later on, but not now. So we have made one class here. Okay. Similar to this, we want to have one more class, which is class test. You can see in the diagram, this class test, we have to inherit from the class student. So let us do it right now only, so that we do not lose our link. I am trying to paste it down over here only. All right. So name will be, we can see it's test, and it has to inherit. So we will have a colon here. We will write public what, from where it is inherited, student class. It is inherited, right? Now, are we supposed to have any data members? So you can see marks of two subjects. They said, where is it? Yeah, two subjects. So M1, M2 will keep the name, and marks are going to be in integer only, where there is never a marks like 4.5 or 10.9. So we'll have integer M1 comma M2. Be very careful while writing this 1 and 2. I have seen that by mistake your hands write it as a suffix. Just observe, in C++ you will not be able to type it that way. So paper corrector is definitely going to cut your marks if you do it that way. Is this marks going to be used by any other class inherited from him? So observe here, these marks are going to get utilized in this class for totaling. So we have to keep it as protected. Understood? All right, let's move ahead. So this was it. Now we have to also take these marks and all these fundamentals. So I'll just go ahead and bring this copy here, and public part will continue over there. Okay, this class here, and yeah, this was it. All right, so in public, which gets inherited, surely I'm removing all the comments which are not new for you. Okay, get marks, enter your marks in, let's say, CS1. So he may enter his marks. So M1 I will store it in, and I will try to copy this here also, and I'll take his marks in CS2 also, M2. Done. So get marks is completed. Okay. Do you think we will require to print their marks in each and every subject? If yes, we can have one more function as put marks or print marks also. So I'm creating one more function over here itself, which is going to have a name as print name. And you can observe I'm writing student name. This is just to, bring certain output of as per our requirement. So I'm just trying to make those kind of arrangements here. I'll take this whole facility down over here to here. Okay, done. Okay, so you can see one class is here, other class also has been created over here. Now, here also we would like to have this kind of same, marks printing facility. So I'll take a copy of this print function. Always remember, whenever you do copy paste, you have to be careful. You have to change everything without fail. Otherwise, it creates unnecessary errors. So print marks is the name. Marks in CS1. So I'm going to print M1. And see, I'm also using /n everywhere so that in case we want to have certain alignment factors, so it happens very well. Okay, so in CS2, M2. Done. So this class job is completed. Similarly, we'll have certain some things for score also, sports. So result class I will be making it at the end, because result has to inherit from test as well as sports. So you can notice I am going to make an individual class called sports. It is not getting inherited from anybody, so only sports. Score, that I will be keeping the name as score only, int score. This name will get score. This part not required. Enter your score in sports. So he will enter. Print score. So we don't need to print anything extra. Only score. Score in sports. Okay. Now, is sports also required to have something like protected? Is he inheriting anything? Yes, it is also inheriting a class result. I will keep that also as protected. Okay. Now, I'll remove this with private classification. But one place we have already described it with the big things, big names. So you can see this score data member we created, name also we created, marks also we created. Now only one data member is required in the last class, which is going to be a total name. Okay. So we will be finally now making the last class, which is going to be test. Okay. And then certainly only a void main. So I know you all would be also wondering like what all things and how am I imagining these all things to be written or not. So things are simple. I am obviously I have created certain kind of output which I want in my brain. I will draw it here also so that you can also correlate with what I am doing right now. Okay. Program to implement class hierarchy. Yes. So now if you observe here, output is going to be very, very big. Definitely. We are first asking him to enter his name, enter your name. So you may enter, let's say Raj, then enter your score in CS1. So let's say he enters 90. Then also similarly for CS2, again, let's say 90. Then his score, enter your score in sports. So I presume every one of you would be at least playing some sports. So you can imagine yourself as 9 or 10 out of 10, how you get it. So we have taken everything. I don't think we are going to ask user to enter his total also. That's our job. Okay. So all these things is been done. Okay. Now, what are we supposed to print? These all things are inputs. Now we are supposed to print the result. So we will be printing something like student name. So you can see in every class, you wrote something like printing facility also, student name. So you can see whatever he would have entered is getting printed. marks in CS1, marks in CS2. Okay. Then score in sports 9, and something called as total score, right? So that also should be getting printed. We can print it like this also. We have to decide the way in which we want it to get printed. So if you want it to get printed like this is also possible. If you want to print only this much, that is also possible. So this is what output I want to bring on the screen. So that is the way I am trying to make the code over here. Now, last one, we have to make a class result. So you can see I am going to change this to result, which is getting inherited from public test, comma, public sports. Means from both of them it is getting inherited. Okay, and test itself has got inherited from the student class. So no need to worry about it. We need to have only one data member here, total. Do we need to keep it protected? No, we can keep it private. So it does not get inherited. Anyway, inheritance is not happening from result below. So we'll leave it like that only. Okay. Now, input function. You can see I have created an input function here also. Now you might wonder why did I write it? So you will notice something in the previous program also. You can see here. From here we had made a call to the all input functions, right? If you want to go for circle, we called input circle, and then rectangle. Here, if you create an object of class result, okay, and let's say you want to take an input from user, then you can only call input function. Input function will play the role to take all types of inputs. Like input function will call this input function, right? And it will ask him to take the inputs. How did he do that? So he will just call get name round bracket semicolon. Again, you notice we are not writing anything dot here, because from void when somebody has already called void input. So on behalf of that object only, input function is calling. So dot operator not required. So get name, then it is get marks, then it is get score. That's it. Inputs taken, right? Now there is something called as we have to also print the result. Okay, so I am going to have a print function also. So void printf, we will prefer f. Let's have practice of writing f everywhere. I am doing it everywhere. All right. Now we want to print this kind of an output. You can see here student name followed by all these details. So he is supposed to call one function or call all the functions, but before that he has to do the total also, isn't it? So let's do the total first. Total, do we have any variable to store the total? Yes, you can see total is a data member of this result only. So we can directly write total equals to m1 plus m2 plus score. So all the total done. Now we are supposed to print student name. So this function prints it. He is going to call that function from here. Print name f. So it does the job of printing the name. Print marks f. Print, then it is score. Okay. So everything has got printed. Whatever is balance is the total score only, right? You can see last line in the output screen is a total score. So I'll write an statement for that also. C out. And as you know, after we need everything in next line, I'll first of all put the slash n, and I'll write total score. Okay, and I'll write here total. So up to these things, the only thing which I have done is, calling each and every function of the superior classes and from the result class. 1 minute, it's results, not result. It will be, yeah. So this is the output which we wanted. Now let us try to make, our void main part, the last part which is remaining. Okay, so I'll keep it a little aside. Yeah. So here only I'll add the void main part. Void main, as usual, will have its normal things. That is clear screen, get ch, all those points. Do we have any latest program? Yeah, it was here. Now let's see what all things do we need to do. We have to create an object of class result. So I'm writing result R. Okay. Now I have to take inputs for R. So R dot input function I'm calling input F. So it is going to call this function, and this function is ultimately going to call all other functions. Okay. What next I need to do? I need to call also print function. So print F. So print function is going to do two jobs, totaling of the thing, because this in this program there was not much things to do. We could have also made a separate function called as calculate total. Then we could have called him. Then we could have printed it. So it's totally okay. The way your college people are going to write it in your journal, same method you should follow in your board papers also. Different colleges may do it in different way. One is this way, another is writing a calculate function. So we'll see it that time once you take all these points. Let's go ahead now. Okay, so we can see that this is the program completion which we plan to do. All right. Yes, you all may start making your notes for this question. So all the programs what we did till now, let us see one by one. First one, I gave you this example, but I did not teach you this program. So I'll start with this first example, put it here. Next one, which I explained you was this. Okay. And today also we did one. Where is it? This one. This one was like quite different one. I'll give some space. Okay, 0.9. Okay. So you can see this looks like a very simple entities. I'll change the names also. Like this one was parent and base class. I'll give them a simple names. A, B, and this C. Okay. I would like to change this design with the same properties and but different appearance. I'll give them this look. Okay. Well, I could see few of you have made some mistakes in arrows. You cannot make a mistake in terms of arrows because it gives a different meaning. So be very careful. You can see from two classes, one class is getting inherited. So things have been remained same. I am just changing the appearance style. I'll remove this one. Okay. Then we have something like this. Okay. All right. A, B, and C. All right. So all these varieties which we are able to see in terms of some questions, everyone have some particular name given in this technology of C++ and also in other technology of Java and further. You can see in this first example, we are having an inheritance of one class which is B class from class A. That means a class is getting inherited from other class. It's just a one level of inheritance. We call it as a single inheritance. Now what I'm teaching you currently is what are the different names, and basically this will relate all of us with the theory question which comes in your board papers. So I'm giving you those classifications also in other words. Okay, I'll just add one table so that what is it, one or two. All right. PowerPoint is a really very good tool. You all should learn it. You can see it's so useful. All right. So what I'll do is basically I'll try to accommodate each and every one. Try to take this table behind. Okay, now it will work well. Okay, so first example one, which we learned just now, I'll just add one more row above so that, yeah, better. Okay, so this type of inheritance in which one class gets inherited from another class and there is only one level of inheritance is called as single inheritance. Here we can see that class C is getting inherited from two different classes. Means it is getting inherited from more than one class. It might be two, it might be three, four, from all classes. If only one class gets inherited, means same class gets inherited from the multiple classes, then we call it as a multiple inheritance. So see the names are very simple to understand and easy to remember also, but only if you remember them as per the concept. Otherwise, it's difficult to remember. Okay. So we have learned something called as two types of inheritance, single and multiple. This inheritance in which a class C is getting inherited from B and B getting from A. So indirectly C is getting inherited from class A also through the level B. This inheritance is known as a multi-level inheritance. Okay. It is called as a multi-level inheritance. Now I'll keep this one little aside over here and we'll focus on something else. Okay, let's see. I'll try to keep this little aside right now. Okay. So as you can see, if one class can get inherited from two different class, then one class can inherit two different class also. That means exactly opposite of this. Let me show you. What I mean to say here is something like, yeah, this. Okay, it's not working that way. Yeah. So from one single class, two different classes are getting inherited, which is A is deriving class B as well as class C. So this kind of inheritance is known as hierarchical inheritance. I'll write down the name here. It is known as hierarchical inheritance. It's like a hierarchy, right? You would have seen the tree diagram. Tree diagram is nothing but a hierarchy. So if from same class, more than one class gets derived. See, if one class gets derived, then it is single inheritance. If more than one gets derived, then it is called as a hierarchical inheritance. Means there can be many after this also, C, D, E, F, and so on. Now, the last type of inheritance is what? I'll show you. The last one is known as hybrid inheritance. Now, hybrid inheritance has some speciality. Means if you mix up any two inheritance other than single inheritance, means if you mix up any two of this type, then it is called as an hybrid inheritance. But I will try to take a difficult example in front of you so that we can learn something from it, and it can become easy for us to you know deal with one of your board paper question also. So I will try to show you one question. Okay, not required. Okay, so you can see from class B and C, D is getting derived, as well as I'm going to make something like this. This is one. Okay, yeah. So point here is I have right now merged two different types. Which are those? One is multiple inheritance and one is hierarchical inheritance. Both of them I have merged. Means from A, two are getting derived, and from other two, D is getting derived. Now, these are the five types of inheritance. The way I have explained you verbally right now, the same way you may try to explain in your board paper also with the words, because this is going to be a 3 or 4 marks question theory. There is a lot to write. You can make such diagram, you can write down the note points. In your choice, how do you design your answers? Okay, now I try to make it little black and white so that it becomes easier for you to understand how to write such questions in your papers. Okay, Now, after knowing all these names, we need to understand one simple thing. I'll try to cover it up over here. How do you make such programs, or how do you implement such classes? So I will try to give you a syntax and followed by that same example. For example, over here, it's little small. I'll increase the font. Yeah. If I want to implement this particular class, so upper one, the class from which it gets inherited, I call it as a base class, and the derived class I call it as a subclass. Okay. So class, how do you? It's like basically I'm writing a syntax. All right. So syntax would look something like class base semicolon. Then you have to write class subclass name. Name would be anything of your choice. Then colon. Then T. The classification you need to mention over here, like access type. You want to access, have a public, private, what? Access type space base class name it is. Now that's why I was keeping the font little smaller. Okay, but you can have the zoom feature in the zoom and try to focus over here. I can also do it for you, no issues. Yeah, so this way it goes, and I'll do one more thing for all of you. 1 minute. Okay, done. I'll change the color to green so that you also follow the same. Yeah, so we are here right now, single inheritance. After done, we are done with this much. I can see few of you are not having clear focus while writing these codes. Semicolon after class closing bracket is anyway important. How can you miss that? Okay, so this was the syntax. Okay, now writing the this program with the names as A, B, C. So it will be a name like, let me change the color to blue now. Yeah. So what will be the name? Class, first class is class A, curly bracket with semicolon. Okay, I'm right now inside not writing anything. Why so? Because my focus is currently to explain how to derive or how to implement such programs. So example I'm writing right now, let's say as a public. That's it. We are done with the example also. We are done with the this program also of or one first type of single inheritance. Now I'm going to the next one. So you can see I'm going to maybe let's say copy the same thing here. Now what would be the changes? How many base class are there? Two base class. So base class 1. Okay, you can see I'm going to make one more base class. So it's base class 2, and here over here base class 1. You can notice that I'm going to only explain the syntax over here. So I'm doing all these things. Base class 2 here, comma, dot means what? There can be multiple than these also. Okay, so this way also you can make your notes. Now here I know I want to derive class C. So first of all I need to have two classes, class A and B separate. Means C, A is very much different, B is different, and C is having relation with both of them. A and B has no relation with each other. So this will become B. Now I will be deriving class C from it. So class public A comma public. We can have a private also over here. Okay, we can have protected also. It all depends what are we making. So currently in this year, let us focus on these simple types. Okay, so this one is done. Now next one, multi-level. Multi-level also looks very easy. Okay, Here we will not be merging two. Multi-level means it is one after other only and in this single pattern only. If you take any one of these multiple and hierarchical, then type changes. Okay, so in this I think we need to have only one class. So you can see I am writing simply base class here sub base I will write because we are right now also considering that as a one of the base class for C, and this is the subclass. Okay, but here we need to have the same thing also, base class name, access type space base class name it is, and here we need to have only class B name. So I'll do that. Sub base class, and that's it. Okay, so this syntax is only for your explanation point of view. I'm writing here other one. Here we do not want public A. So here we want public A, right? So B gets derived from A and C gets derived from B. That's it. So it was easier. Now let us focus on this particular type. I think this is also going to be easier. So I'll take this copy here. Now let us focus in this particular example. So this is a hierarchical inheritance. From A we want to derive B and C also. So base class is common now. So we don't need to write all this. This is subclass, one of the subclass, then colon, and we need to mention only this much, access type base class, and same thing gets repeated for another also. So I'll write here 1 and 2 identifiers. Okay, copying this, pasting here, that's done. Okay, the same base class name we are keeping here also. I'll do the same. I'll write here public A, and this also will be public A, means B is also getting derived from A, C is also getting derived from A. That's it. Now let us come on to the last type. As the name says, hybrid inheritance, and I told you already, there is something we need to learn about. So I'll first copy this here over here. This will be the last type and the last topic also of the day. Okay, class base. So here, instead of being more specific about all these points, or that is what I say syntax. See, hybrid inheritance can be of anything. So there is no fixed syntax about it. All right. So here you can see there can be many subclasses B, C, D, F. Here there can be many levels. Here there can be multiple base class. Here there can be multiple derived classes. Here there is no particular syntax. I am putting dashes over there, and I will try to teach you how do we implement this particular same example over here. So class A remains class A. Then class B gets derived from A, so public A. Class C also gets derived from A, public A, fine. D gets derived from B and C. So this is it, right? This kind of something. So I'll paste it down over there. I'll remove these empty bracket spaces so that our focus more comes up on the explanatory part. Yeah. So we want to have a class D which gets derived from B and C. So this is B, this is class C, okay? And what is the problem or what is the learning area in this particular type? So this example, you can notice one simple thing. Class B is getting inherited from class A. C is also getting inherited from class A. Okay, that is totally fine. But look at D. Don't you think D is going to get all the properties from B as well as from C? And B and C have already derived from the same base class. Means if A is having some facility, for example, let's say some properties of calculating square root, Okay, then he has also got those powers of square root, he has also got those powers of square root. And suppose whenever D requires to use those powers and he places the call, what happens? Call does not get placed because computer cannot decide use the power of square root from B or from C, because he cannot give more importance to any one of this class on his own. Did you understand? That means suppose class A is having some feature or facility and can D use it? Of course D can use, because D is indirectly derived from A. But D will use it through B or through C. That is unknown. So as computer cannot have automatic rights to choose B or C, we have to give a right to the computer by saying over here one keyword, virtual. And this virtual word is very important. I mark it red, otherwise computer cannot execute such programs. Virtual, by saying virtual means what? You are giving a freedom to the computer to either go through B or go through C. It is okay to you. You as a programmer, you do not have any issues with it. You are giving that message to the computer and computer will do it either through B or through C as per his convenience. That was the hybrid inheritance, and that was the last topic of the day. Okay. So currently, uh, as we all are running behind the time, just it's about to get 9 or it's already 9. What I'll do is I'll send you this snapshot. Okay. But let me just see what we can do about this space first. Okay. So I'm going to send you all this picture on your group for you to make the notes.